So Bert wanted me to tell you guys this story on the podcast. Last night I took, Sandy and I took 7 girls roller skating. Sandy looked up online and was like, oh, 8 to 11's free skate. Let's take them at 8 o'clock and we'll go. So we invited Lynn's daughter, and Lynn calls me and goes, you do realize it's LGBTQ night at the roller rink? And I went, no, didn't realize that. Okay. So I was like, well, I'm cool with that. That'll be really fun. And everybody was cool with it. So I call Sandy and I'm like, just so you know, it's LGBTQ night is rainbow skate. So everybody should be like rainbowed up. So all our kids
queued themselves up. They were the gayest group of kids I've ever seen in my life.
I'd say they were the biggest group of gay supporters, because they like drew rainbow hearts on their cheeks and they had rainbow socks on and they were like, woohoo! Of course, they had no idea what it really meant at all.
It was crazy. Isla had a softball visor on. Like they were watching the net. It was like they were they were the gay.
Lily
on this podcast.
Lulu did wear her softball socks. So
She did.
yeah. So we're skating it was fabulous, first of all, because the music was awesome. Every song was like, Freedom by George Michael and like all these like anthem type songs. It was awesome. And we were there the full 3 hours. And toward the end of the night, this woman skates up to me, and she's obviously gay. She has like a buzz cut, and she's not transgender. She's just a very, butchy gay woman, right? So I've been watching her all night. She's there with a big group. She's there with her girlfriend. Her girlfriend is very like girly. And they're holding hands and skating, and a couple skate, and like they're taking pictures together. So clearly they're together, right? So she skates up to me and she goes, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm good. How you doing? She goes, why are you here? And I went, 'cause I'm skating. Why are you here? And she was like, no. I mean, are you here 'cause you're like a cool mom here? And I went, yeah, I'm here 'cause I'm a cool mom here. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm here. I'm here 'cause I'm a cool mom. She went, oh, okay, well, that's really cool that you brought. How many kids do you have? And I said 7. I brought 7 kids, but I'm here with my best friend, and we're, she has 2 of the 7 kids, so it was kind of even. And she's a cool mom too. I didn't see that. And she was like, oh, okay, you guys are just some cool moms. I said, yeah, we're just some cool moms. And she skated away. She was like, well, no, she put her hand out. Show her handshake. She puts her hand out like this. She people listening can't see, but like this, and she goes, I'm Jackie. And I go, I'm Leanne. Nice to meet you, Jackie. And then she skated off, and I was like, oh my God, I just got hit on. I just got felt out. Why are you here? And I was like, what do you mean? I'm in the middle of roller skating. What do you mean, why am I here? Oh, why am I here?
Oh my God. Why today are you here?
Not to get picked up by you, Jackie, but thank you for the offer. How funny was that?
I love it.
That's
so
awesome.
I get in the car with Sandy and I go, I think I got like hit on. And she was like, no. What are you talking about? And I told her the story, and she goes, we are some cool moms. That's some cool moms. That's going to be our code word. Now it's, hey, you're such a cool mom. And so she texted me at 12:30 last night. She was like, you're such a cool mom. That was really funny.
What's the book you guys are talking about today?
Jeez. Finally, we're talking about this book. It's called Better Than Before.
What is it?
It's about creating habits. Maybe you'd like to sit in. Maybe you could learn a few things about creating habits. No?
I just told, here, I'll steal your mic for a second. I just told my therapist that I'm going back to old habits.
Which are?
For losing weight, I'm going back to old habits with my eating disorder. I only know one way. I only know one way that works, and I'm not going to sit here and try to learn new ways because it's not working. I'm working out hard as fuck, and I'm still gaining weight, and I'm doing everything they say.
No, you're not.
Okay, I'm out.
You're eating like a crazy person.
I'm not eating like a fucking crazy person.
You bought 64 pieces of Popeye's chicken and brought it to our house, and you've been eating it every day.
That's protein.
That's not protein, that's fat.
All right, I'll see you guys.
Oh my God.
Have a great podcast.
It's not a mystery why it's not working. He's such a dummy. What a dummy. Who says I'm going back to my old ways, which is starving myself because I'm doing everything I can? He's not doing everything he can. Don't buy Popeye's chicken en masse.
He bought it for the kids.
Yeah, right. He didn't buy it for the kids. He also bought a gallon of lemonade, a gallon of fruit punch, and a gallon of sweet tea. No one in this house drinks that but him and Isla. And Isla every day's like, I'm just going to have a little more fruit punch. I'm just going to have a little more lemonade. I'm just going to mix the two together. And I'm like, this is bad. You can't possibly stay on a diet with that much fried chicken in your house. It's impossible.
And the biscuits.
Oh. Right, that's the worst.
That's what kills me is every morning I'm like, how often do I have a biscuit? I'm just going to have one biscuit. So today I wouldn't let myself have a biscuit.
Toasted with honey.
Shut up, Cathy.
Freaking good. Oh my God.
Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, so we're talking about this book today. Better Than Before. Thank you for suggesting it, Kirsten. I did learn from it, but I found it really hard to get through. Did either of you have a hard time getting through it?
I felt it was, yes, very challenging.
Really?
I was like, I don't know. I had zero interest in wanting to read this book. And I would read it and be like, oh, that's interesting, actually. And then I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going back to it. And then I would find something else and it would be interesting. But I was like, yeah, it was really hard for me to pick up. I don't really know why. I just really didn't want to. But it was valuable in some ways.
I find self-help books hard to get through as a whole.
Probably.
I didn't find this one hard to get through, but I also read it when it was first published, like maybe 3 years ago, ish. And I did not get through it before this meeting. Yeah. I started it, but my God, I mean, it's kicking my ass. Summer is kicking my ass.
It is.
With the kids home and just, I feel like I've been run off my feet.
Yeah, you said you had a story. What's the story?
No, the story is we're supposed to be talking about habit formation and like our last meeting, our last podcast when we talked about we were going to read this book was all about time management and we all had tips and we were going to try these things. And I can say that I have done zero of those things. I've done nothing. My time management is at an all-time low. Because, and actually one of the things that she talks about here is, I think the clean slate, like when your situation changes, if you start a new job, if it's summer and the kids are out of school, whatever, that's a good time to start a habit. However, it's also an impediment to the habits that you have going. Right. You know, when you're like, oh, when the kids go to school, that's when I exercise and then I do this. And then the summer, suddenly you're traveling and everything just goes to shit. And then.
But she says it's not supposed to do that. If it's a habit. Well, it happens every day, no matter if you're on vacation. No matter, but I don't know what that is. True. That is called I wrote it down.
It's one of the.
It's called a lie. I think
it's a loophole.
A loophole, yes.
And it is a. That doesn't count. I won't work out because I'm on vacation.
Right.
Loophole.
That's all fine and well.
I feel like that's actually different. Like the I won't work out because I'm on vacation is like an excuse you're telling yourself. I feel like it's not an excuse. It's not like I'm saying, oh, my kids are home, so I'm going to give myself the day off. I don't fucking have time because I have children who are like, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need to go here, I need to go there, come do this with me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
or you're on
a loophole and that I'm trying to get out of it. It's that somebody is making me get out of it.
Disrupting
or when you're on vacation and you're living in a house with 14 people, the relatives, I feel guilty saying, well, this is the time of day that I work out. I'm going to go for my run now. Oh,
there's a loophole for that too. Would you like to hear Gretchen's loophole for that? Let me see. It will hurt a concern for others. It will hurt my girlfriend's feelings if I leave her and go for a run.
But it's not about hurting. But this isn't about hurting feelings. This is about we're driving into Savannah at this time. Everybody's got to be ready. We got to feed the kids ahead of time. There's just no time piecing it all together. So
hey, I get it.
Everything has gone to shit, and I hope that your listeners can appreciate that. I mean, I think they listen to you because you're fun and you got your shit together and you're doing all this stuff and you got great habits and you have a lot to impart, and they can listen to this and go, you know what? Some of your friends are totally fucked. Like,
I'm totally fucked too, by the way. Just so you know, since school's been out, my 21-day fix has been completely off the rails. I've gained 5 pounds back, which is 50% of what I lost, which is really frustrating. Almost 50%. I lost 12 pounds total. So I'm right at 45%. I'm really frustrated because I'm choosing to sleep over working out. Like,
yes,
you know,
100%.
I want to sleep. And if I sleep until 8 o'clock, my kids have tennis at 9. I'm back and forth from tennis. And I have not been able to consistently work out. I've been trying to keep my diet. But it doesn't help when 64 pieces of fried chicken walk in your house. When you ask, please don't go to Popeyes. Just please don't. I mean, he was like, no, I'm sorry. He called and said, how about McDonald's? And I was like, no, not McDonald's. So he shows up with Popeyes, which is so much better. I mean, McDonald's would have at least been gone the first day. So I'm like, I'll just have one piece of chicken. Because who has Popeyes chicken in their house?
I know.
Mine, so
good.
I'm not perfect by any means. Like, I can't wait for school to start. No, I'm going to put that back.
Yeah.
I am really enjoying the summer.
Okay. Yeah. Ditto.
Right.
Everything
Yeah.
you're about to say, I fucking love it. I look
Me
forward to
too.
summer
Yes.
every year.
Me
I want them to
too.
be off school. I want them to have free time. I want them to do fun things. At the same time, it comes and I'm like, fuck, I can't wait for school to start because we need some consistency, some
Yes.
structure.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really
agree.
hard, isn't it?
It is really hard.
Because, you know, not only do we have Popeye's chicken, Bert, 4th of July was Wednesday. And Bert was like, just so you know, I need the 4th of July to be a Wednesday through Sunday kind of thing. So we're partying every day. And I was like, yeah, we started partying actually Tuesday. So I can't party every day. I'm freaking almost 50. I mean, come on, give me a break. I'm not 20. So Thursday was like, I need a day. Like, I got to do some laundry. I need a day. He had a temper tantrum the full day because we were not partying Thursday night. Had a party Friday, had a party Saturday, had a party Sunday. And so I drank and ate shit 5 of the 7 days that week because it was 4th of July. I mean, I had a corn dog at the park. It was just ridiculous. So coupled with a cruise and 4 days at Disneyland for Georgia, it's impossible. It's no wonder I didn't gain 40 pounds with eating all this.
Well, then that's
crap.
reframing. You should just reframe it and go, you know what?
Right.
Lucky
Considering
me.
all
There you
this
go.
stuff, good for me for not gaining more weight.
40, right.
And
Right.
you
You're
haven't
only at 45%. You're
completely
still
undone.
under 50.
I am
Yeah.
still under 50.
That's good.
And I did lose 2 pounds since 4th of July. I did kind of, sort of.
You're actually doing quite well,
I'm doing
all
okay.
things
Right.
considered.
I'm doing okay, but it is really, I just want to sleep late. I have to get up at 5:45.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm
Yeah.
dealing with because usually I would get up at the crack of dawn, exercise right away while Richard is at CrossFit, which is it's one of Gretchen's things here that she talks about. People exerting influence over each other's habits. Richard gets up at the crack of dawn to do CrossFit, and then I hop on the elliptical.
Right.
And then get the kids' day going. But we have to get up at the crack of dawn
Yeah.
to make that all happen.
Yeah.
I want to take a break from getting up at the crack of dawn.
Me too.
Is that so much to ask?
No, it's not. I hate getting up at 5:45, and I got years left of that. I got like 6 more years of that. I hate it. I'm a night person. Like, I could stay up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning every day and sleep till 8 or 9. That's the way my body likes it. But
I'm a morning person. I'm just
Yeah,
not
me
a
too.
crack of dawn person. Like, I
Kathy
enjoy
gets
the
up
break.
with the chickens.
I
She gets
do.
up before sun.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, in the summer though, like I still wake up at that time, but I'm like, I don't actually have to get out of bed. Like, I can stay in bed and I can read or I can do whatever. You know what I mean? Whereas normally I'm like up and then the whole day is started, laundry's done before, like everything is taken care of before I wake the kids up for school. You know what I mean?
Right.
But now it's like,
Don't have to do that.
I don't need to do that. It's so toasty in here. Just cuddling with the dog,
I know. No need to
That's living the
move.
dream.
So, yeah.
Well, let's tell people a little bit about this book so they know what we're talking about. The book is called Better Than Before by Gretchen Rubin. It's about habits and how habits can help you have a happier life. She has habits, as you know, are things you do automatically. But her theory is knowing yourself better helps you form and keep habits better. So she came up with these 7 essentials that I'm going to read really quick. that everybody should adhere to, right? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about how well we do all these things after we read them. Number 1, eat and drink more healthfully. 2, exercise regularly. 3, save, spend, and earn wisely. 4, rest, relax, and enjoy, which means like stop watching TV in bed, turn off your cell phone, spend time in nature, cultivate silence, get enough sleep, spend less time in the car. 5, accomplish more, stop procrastinating. 6, simplify, clear, clean, and organize. And number 7, engage more deeply in relationships. So half of this makes me feel like, here's what I wrote. This overall feels tedious, boring, stale, old lady, and closed-crotched. Not fun. That was my assessment of her 7 tendencies.
Closed-crotched.
Closed-crotched. All of that just sounded like wah, wah. Even though you know that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Say, like, it's also not rocket science.
No, it's not.
Do you know what I mean? Like, eat more healthfully. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
like,
but we don't.
Okay, sometimes I do. Sometimes not so much. You know, I feel like
I don't think any self-help is ever rocket science, but it's the way.
Well, I guess that may be true.
Because really, I mean, we all know that we need to do those things. Yeah. But I like the way that she breaks it down in terms of knowing yourself better, all the questions to ask. Because there were a lot of the questions on there that I thought, I never thought. Am I an overbuyer or an underbuyer?
Well, that's funny because like I actually forgot about that page. Like I sort of ignored that because I was like, yeah, that's nothing. And it was like the other stuff, the like the 4 tendencies and like all of that kind of stuff. That I was like, oh, that's actually sort of once you understand yourself better, you can probably do these things better.
Right. Yeah. So in determining who you are, right, when you start with self-knowledge, you identify how your nature affects your habits, is what she says. So there's 4 different natures. She calls them the 4 tendencies, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the 4 tendencies. The first is an upholder, and that's someone who responds readily to outer and inner expectations. So they're like self-starters, people who go, I know that I'm going to need to pay my taxes, so I'm going to prepare to pay my taxes all year long, and then when tax time comes, it's ready. Like that, right?
I think so. I think that the tendencies are really more about, I think it is more about outer and inner. So I think that somebody who's a questioner or a rebel could prepare and pay their taxes on time in the same way.
Right.
But that it's really more about how you respond to other people's expectations.
Interesting. Okay.
And where your motivation comes from.
Yes, where your motivation comes from.
You know, almost the last book we talked about, the intrinsic or extrinsic.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so the next one is a questioner. They question all expectations and will meet an expectation only if they believe it is justified. An obliger responds readily to outer expectations but struggle to meet inner expectations, like her friend she described her friend on a track team, like when she had to show up for practice, she was on time, really awesome, but if she was going to go for a run by herself, she'd flake out. Rebels resist all expectations, outer and inner alike. My husband. That's my husband. And my daughter, Isla. Those ones are tough for other people to deal with. And I think they're tough for themselves. Like he's talking about, fuck this, I'm going to go back to my old way of just starving myself because he can't comply with someone else's expectations. He has a nutritionist and a trainer now for this triathlon, and he cannot do it the way they're telling him to. He just can't do it. And I'm like, the nutritionist sent me his plan. Choose one of these 15 items in protein and carb and fat and just any of them. This is just what you need to be. He won't even look at the list. He can't bring himself to do it.
So Gretchen has subsequently written a book all about the 4 tendencies called The 4 Tendencies.
Oh, really?
Which I have, and I'll give it to you because if you read the Rebel section, you may come up with tips. May not. I mean, I don't know if it'll be helpful to you. I don't have as many
That's
rebels.
Interesting that she really dove into those 4 tendencies because they were pretty fascinating. That part of the book,
it was.
Like, that's really,
did you guys do the quiz and find out what you are? Did you know
what quiz?
Oh my God.
I knew what I was beforehand. Like
what
just
quiz?
Reading the descriptions.
So there's a quiz that you can go to her website. You can also, there's a mini quiz in the back. Yeah. But you can also go to her website and do a quiz.
I didn't go to her website, but I did the one in the back.
Okay, so I'm fascinated. What did you think you were, and were you right?
Yes.
Okay, what were you?
Obliger.
An obliger?
I was like reading this fucking book. I don't want to read this book, but I have to because I told people I was going to read it, so I have to follow through.
Okay.
But then the thing I did not realize is that I actually have some rebel tendencies in there that I did not really anticipate.
Which makes sense. She says that an obliger either tips to upholder or a rebel. So I thought that I was an obliger. I 100% thought I was an obliger. I did the test. I was an upholder. And so I went online and I did the test there thinking that I'd get a different result.
Right.
And I was an upholder again. And
that's funny. I
this
can
was
actually
like,
see that,
this was years ago. And over the years, she's changed the test a little bit, so there are different questions. So I've tried it again and again, and I keep trying to give different answers, thinking, no, I'm pretty sure I'm an obliger. No, it's not that I wanted. I just was convinced. I feel like.
Wait, so are you still an upholder?
I'm an upholder, 100%. And when I told Richard, he was like, "Of course you're an upholder."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Why?" And he said, "Because you are. You know, if you decided you wanted to write a novel, so you wrote a novel. Nobody cared about it one way or another. You weren't doing it for anybody. You didn't tell anybody about it. You just did it.
Right.
But somebody asked you to do something, to do a project at school or at work or at whatever, and you do it. So you're an upholder." And I'm like, yeah, but why am I not getting more shit done? I feel like it felt to me like the upholder was the one who's like, oh, they have it all together. They're getting it all done. But reading her book, The 4 Tendencies, it seems like everybody has their own challenges within that. It's just that motivation-wise, the motivation is equal,
right?
For that. But I think that maybe I have some obliger tendencies in that obliger rebellion that she talked about, where people ask you and ask you and ask and ask, and you're fine and you're fine and you're fine and you're fine, and then you're like, fuck it. And I relate to that strongly. That's why I thought I was an obliger.
Okay, I am 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses for an upholder and 2 for an obliger. So I guess that means I'm an upholder obliger light.
And you have nothing out, no other?
Did you do any for questioner? Nothing for questioner?
No questioner, no.
Okay. And no rebel. Then that makes sense.
Well,
I would have thought you were an upholder too, Cathy.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. I have one questioner. I'm like, yeah, sort of. I like to hear from experts, but I decide for myself what course to follow. I kind of do that. But I think that's just called good judgment.
But it's not the be all end all. That's not where your motivation is.
That's not my motivation.
Exactly.
No.
Right.
And
yeah, we all like to get information. I think we all have something from each of them.
Then I have one obliger. I have no rebel. I have no rebel at all. I have no rebel. I didn't know this was in here. I just made it through the book. I was like, oh, thank God. I'm done with the book. Never mind. I didn't even look past that.
Well, forget the appendices.
Yes. Here's what I would like to say about this book.
No epilogue.
One thing I really like about Gretchen Rubin and her books, she's an upholder.
Yeah, no shit.
And she's like 100% type A and detailed. Her website is phenomenal. Yeah. She has resources for every single one of her books, and I printed up a bunch of them. So she has her Better Than Before Habits Manifesto. And I honestly think for me, I was stressing about not rereading the book because I promised you that I would whatever, but my book disappeared. I was on vacation for 3 weeks.
It's okay.
All this shit happened.
You'd read it before.
And I've read it before.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not that I hadn't read it, but I realized that all of these resources are basically the book in a nutshell. So you have a 1-page sheet that's like, oh, this reminds me of everything
that you read.
And everything that I liked in the book.
Version, right,
She's very concise. And then she has these pages on eating better than before and like 7 tips based on her research, like the clean slate theory. A new situation makes it easier to change habits. If you move to a new city, change jobs or schools, have a new routine, take advantage of the clean slate, which is interesting. I realized I did that when I started my job working in an office several years ago that I've since left. But I decided I was going to take the stairs every day, even though there was an elevator. I thought, oh, okay, let's take the stairs. And that became a habit. And it's become such a habit that anywhere that I am, if I'm in a parking garage, if I'm wherever, any place that there are stairs, I choose to take the stairs just because that's my habit now. Like, oh, I'm a stair person.
Right.
We're at CPK, the kids are going up the escalator and I'm walking up the stairs.
Right.
And
because it's better for you.
yeah, and it's great. So that really did, the clean slate totally works. I think that's actually the best, one of the best ones. But anyway, I think she's really fantastic in terms of her resources because
she definitely does her research.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's very thorough.
Very thorough. And she has this one, like a checklist for habit change. So if you decide there's a specific habit you'd like to change, and she says here, for example, don't say, define your habits very specifically. Don't say eat healthier, because what does that mean? You could say I ate an apple today, but I also ate all the Popeyes.
Right.
So instead of eat healthier, you say bring lunch to work every day. Don't buy fast food.
Right.
Or something very specific. Right. And then she goes through, has listed all the different habit tricks like monitoring, foundation, scheduling, accountability. And so you write in, they're not all going to work. You don't need like 100 pillars or, ideas in order to change a habit, but you can look at the ones and go, monitoring. I'm going to write down what I eat every day. Her resources are just fantastic.
So what's her website? Do you know?
GretchenRubin.com.
Gretchen Rubin. Let's spell it. GretchenRubin. GretchenRubin.com.
Yes, and she has this for all of her books. So she has the Happiness Project, which is ways to
be happy,
make your life a little happier at home. It's really, her resources are just fantastic. And she has this reading group guide, which even though we're not doing this book club style, I felt it helpful to go through here and just answer some of the questions, because more than anything, it showed me all of the areas that I hadn't really thought about, even though I've read the book and I've read it now 1.5 times.
Right.
And I listened to her podcast and I've seen the resources. There were tons of things that I was like, shit, I don't know.
Well, we should go through that. I printed it out and then left it in the house. That reading guide. But so you are an obliger?
Yeah.
And how'd that make you feel when you figured that out?
I went into it knowing it. Once I read the description, I was like, oh yeah, that's me.
I'm an
obliger. The rebel piece, I was a little more surprised at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really anticipate it tipping in that direction.
That actually doesn't surprise me about you.
No, not at all.
Whatever.
I would have thought she might have been a rebel with obliger tendencies as opposed to an obliger with rebel tendencies. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have this thing about you,
Kath.
Kath,
But okay.
You have this thing about you where I can. I think I've known you long and well enough where I can read you, and I can see you in behind your eyes going, "I'm not fucking doing that."
How often do I say that though? How often do I'm like?
I've often enough that I notice it.
There is a look in your eyes, though. There's a certain look in your eyes when you're listening to something, and
you are more transparent than you think.
Well, that's not super shocking.
You probably all are.
I know I'm very transparent. I can't hide anything. But sometimes I go, Kathy thinks she's making a nice face now. At the fair.
Fuck you face.
At the fair, I'd go, Kathy thinks she's making a nice face now. That's not a nice face. I'm glad you don't know her well enough to know that that's the fuck you face. So keep on going. Let's keep moving. So Upholder. I got stressed out when I found out I was an Upholder.
Really?
Yes, part of me got frustrated with that. Now, I don't want to be an obliger. Because when I was reading the book, I kept thinking, I am an upholder with obliger tendencies. Because I definitely am the person people come to when they have a problem. I am the person that goes, hey, can you pick my kids up for me? And I do sometimes get annoyed at that. Not very often, but from time to time, especially if it's happening a lot, then I'm like, oh, why me? But that's not my motivation. I'm not like, I must be the person that everyone comes to. I don't feel like that. But it made me really stressed out because I was like, well, I'm stressing myself out. Somewhere I had read, or maybe it was in her book, that procrastination allows you to be more creative. Because you as a precrastinator, as someone who goes, I know the taxes are due in April, so I'm just going to handle it every single month so I don't have to do anything, keeps you so busy that you don't have the time to be creative. And that made sense to me because I I keep myself so on top of everybody's game that I don't have time to sit down and go and daydream. A lot of creativity comes in not daydreaming per se, but in having space.
Space.
And having some space to let creativity happen and come to you. And I definitely am like, let's get it done. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Move to the next thing. Move to the next thing.
Closed crotch.
I know. It made me feel like I'm like Gretchen Rubin. I'm closed crotch. I'm so boring. I'm so like square. It made me feel very square. And I didn't like that. But the flip side of that is, I do like that I handle shit and that I get things done. And I mean, I've never written a novel, but I did say I'm going to start a podcast and did. We've been running this Girl Scout troop for almost 8 years, and that's definitely a self-starter thing. And, you have to be very intrinsically motivated to do something like that because it's rewarding, but it's definitely, they ain't no pay.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It made me frustrated. It made me feel like I was an annoying person.
No, but the thing is, any of them, I think she gives examples, maybe not in this book, maybe it's in the other book, of famous people, really successful people.
That's the other book.
In all of the tendencies. So there are wildly successful people that you think of as type A. It's not like upholders are type A and the others are not. There are type A within each of those things. It's just about where the motivation comes from.
Right.
So it doesn't mean you can be closed crotch rebel. I
think that may be too much contradiction.
Maybe that's too far, but the other ones definitely.
You could be, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. Maybe I should read that other book because I really did fuck, I don't want to be an upholder. I don't want to be, but I don't want to be any of the other ones either.
That's interesting. Like, I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing.
No, I know. Well, I find a way to make myself bad in every situation.
No, it's a great thing
to do.
Okay, she talks about how people are like, oh, I wanted to be an upholder. Like, I was hoping that I'd be an upholder. And she's like, why are you hoping to be? All it is your motivation nature. This doesn't describe like your accomplishments. You can have a far more accomplished rebel, obliger, questioner than an upholder. You can have an upholder who's not living up to their potential, but who's still meeting external and internal motivations, but just maybe they're not as ambitious, or whatever. So I don't think it really says anything about you. It's more for your own self-knowledge. Right. And also, like within the family, it is helpful to know, like, wait a minute, I am an upholder dealing with 2 rebels. How the hell am I going to manage this?
Yeah. Right.
That's how it's helpful.
Poorly. The answer is poorly. I'm managing it very poorly. I try to give Isla as much control and autonomy as possible. That seems to be the best thing for her as a rebel. But it is really hard when you go, all right, now the rubber's got to meet the road. You have to, because everybody has to. And she didn't really give a shit.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, is you go, how do you make a rebel understand that some rules of society everybody just has to follow? Everybody's supposed to pay their taxes. Everybody brushes their own teeth. You know what I mean? Everybody does that. How do you... It's hard anyway. So the 4 tendencies I thought was really cool, really helpful. Like just what we just said with figuring out who my kids are. Although I'm not really sure who Georgia is. I was very confused about Georgia.
She says in there that actually she couldn't even categorize her 2 children at the time that she wrote her book. And one of her children was like a teenager at the time. So she said it's really more for adults because...
You're formed.
Yeah, and the thing is, kids, there's a lot that kids don't want to do. They don't want just because they don't want to brush their teeth doesn't mean that they're a rebel. Mm-hmm. Although I'm not saying that Isla isn't. I just mean
Isla
they don't want to do a lot of the boring shit.
Isla is easy to identify. She has been a rebel since she drew breath, her first breath. Okay, so she also broke down distinctions, right? Are you a lark or an owl? Mm-hmm. A lark is a morning person. An owl is a night person. So if you're an owl and you're trying to start an early morning habit, you're probably setting yourself up for failure, right? So if you want to get something done and you're an owl, you should get it done at night. That was her theory, right? Yeah. Pretty good theory. Are you a sprinter, a marathoner, or a procrastinator? I don't know. What are you guys? Sprinter, marathon? I know, I should have asked. You're a lark. What are you?
A lark, 100%.
I'm an owl.
I'm not like an extreme lark, but yes, even in the summer, I'm still waking up at 6:30.
Right.
Just that's my natural inclination, and I don't like staying up late.
Oh, I love it. I'm an owl. So sprinter, marathon, or procrastinator. Those are pretty clear.
That one was really hard for me.
I think it's hard too. Yeah.
It's really hard for me. And I got thrown because I'm an actual marathoner. Like,
yeah, right.
I run marathons. So I was like, oh, I'm a marathoner. Then when I broke it down, I thought, I don't know. I think I might be more of a sprinter personality wise. I'm just a slow runner. So would you just
I don't know what I was either. I was confused by that one too.
I think it also is situational.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Definitely like certain things, and maybe that's the rebel tendency where like I totally procrastinate and I'm not, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then other things where you're like, oh yeah, this is just, you're in it for the long haul. This is totally fine. I can do this forever.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. That was a little more confusing or not as easily to identify, I thought.
Underbuyer or overbuyer? An underbuyer, I wrote this out extra. Underbuyers remember that spending money to support a good habit is worthwhile. And an overbuyer should remember that spending money doesn't mean you'll maintain a habit.
Yeah. So for me, this is situational. Mm-hmm. I found this very hard to break down because in my pre-children life, I was an overbuyer. I definitely was still living as if I was in a family of 5, which I grew up and I just watched how my mom bought things and the size of things. So I was like shopping at Costco when I was living alone.
Right.
And which is crazy. I mean, it sounds crazy to me now. But I also had a disposable income. I was a single person with no kids.
Right.
And now with kids and the lessons and the medical and the, you know, traveling back to see family and all of the drain on finances, I feel like I'm an underbuyer. I don't feel like. I mean, Richard would say, he'd listen to this and go, is she out of her fucking mind? She is an underbuyer. He's always like, you need clothes. You haven't bought a bathing suit in 12 years.
Right,
like,
right.
Holy shit.
Right.
So I think some of that is situational just based on I'm trying to be frugal and sensitive to our family situation instead of just...
being frivolous.
Yes.
Well, I am an underbuyer. I used to be a really bad underbuyer where I would just not spend anything on anything. I'm better now than that. I'm like, you know what? It's okay to buy some skincare products. That's not at Rite Aid. You can afford it. It's okay. And I'm not buying a $120 bottle of something because that's stupid. You know, I go buy Clinique, which is completely... reasonable. So I'm a lot better. I've kind of gotten really okay with that. And I've gotten okay with like joining Beachbody, which is like $8 a month, which is not that much money. But in the past, it'd be like $8 a month. And you know, even to spend money on a yoga class at $25 a pop, I'm better. But I'm definitely not an overbuyer. I don't know if I'm really an underbuyer anymore, but that's my tendency is to underbuy. What's yours, Cathy?
Underbuyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was using this like workout app and like you got a certain amount free. And then I was like, oh, I'm not paying for that. $5 fucking dollars. Like, why wouldn't I pay for that if they actually use it?
If you actually
But I was like, it was free for a while. Why would I pay for it?
Right. Well, the
Which
underbuyer,
is so
remember
stupid.
that spending money to support a good habit is worthwhile.
It's stupid. And $5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as opposed to like a gym membership that's $60 a month or whatever. Right. Like it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
But that's where my brain goes immediately.
Me too.
I hear you.
So that knee-jerk reaction.
Like, yeah.
We were getting Beachbody for free. We still actually get it for free, but we were having trouble with our login. Well, I was working out every day and I was like, screw this. I'm just going to join it. It's $8 a month. And I went through the whole process to join it and I could not push join for that $8 a month. And so then I was like, I guess I'm just not working out today. Whereas Bert has 2 treadmills, a spin bike, a rower, 3 sets of weights.
He may not be an underbuyer.
He may not be an underbuyer. But
64
like,
pieces
why
of
do
chicken.
I have a problem spending $8 a month when we have all this shit in here? Half of it he never uses. He just bought another bike. We have a bike that's been hanging in our garage for 12 years. And he's ridden it one time. Anyway, simplicity lover over abundance lover. I'm a simplicity lover. How about you guys?
I feel like I'm a simplicity lover, but my family doesn't coincide with that.
No,
we have
mine.
a massive amount of shit that I would love to not have.
Same.
Yes.
But
I I'm confused on this as well.
Yeah.
I am a simplicity lover in terms of household. I like the way our dining room looks now with the new furniture, and it's very clean and there's not a lot of crap. At the same time, I haven't gotten to a place in life where I can say goodbye to everything.
Right.
I feel like I'm a little torn.
Yeah. A little half and half.
Yeah.
An opener or a finisher?
I think I'm an opener.
Are you? Mm-hmm. And what does that mean? I don't remember. You start something, don't finish
Start something and don't finish.
That you can, and you can start a lot of things too.
Right.
This was confusing for me too.
Yeah.
That one was confusing for me too, because sometimes I'm really good at finishing stuff, but sometimes I do start things I don't finish.
Right.
So I don't know. Do you love familiarity or novelty? Like this she described as you could watch the same movie over and over again, or do you never want to watch the same movie again? You want something new every time?
I don't feel the need to watch the same movie again, unless it's my very, very, very favorite one. But but I feel like I am a creature of habit. Like I do like to go to the same restaurants. I don't know. This was tough too.
It's not super clear cut.
Yeah.
I definitely lean more towards familiarity.
Right.
But
with some novelties to spice it
exactly.
up.
Like you don't want everything to be the same always.
Right.
But I also don't want everything constantly changing.
Right.
Like that's definitely not my style. But
right.
The other way. You're in that square box and you're like, ugh.
Well, I didn't like admitting this about myself. I'm a familiarity person. I have read Jane Austen's books 1,000,000 times, and I'll start a new author and go, she sucks. I'm not reading her. I'm going to go back and read the one I know I like. And then it's the same. Anytime, this is something that Sandy actually has been very helpful for me. I don't, traveling makes me nervous because it's unknown, but I enjoy it. But my knee-jerk reaction is, no, I don't want to go there. Why would I want to go there? That's my knee jerk. And then my brain goes, well, of course you want to go there. Who wouldn't want to go there?
Right.
Yes, the answer is yes. But my knee jerk reaction is no. To go to the lake and to go to the beach house every year. We go every year. It's the same trip every year. I know exactly what that is every year. But like she was a couple weeks ago was like, let's go to Cuba. And my knee jerk reaction was, why do I want to go to Cuba? And then, of course, I went, of course you want to go to Cuba. Who wouldn't want to go to Cuba? Of course, you can't get into Cuba anymore. But I noticed that about myself. And I thought, she's been a really good influence in my life because she wants to go do everything. So then it makes me go, well, why are you being like that? You should want to experience everything. I want to experience everything. My knee jerk is not that. Promotion focused versus prevention focused. You do something to get ahead, or you do something to prevent something from happening.
And that's tough as moms because I feel like the mom role is prevention in a way, like, managing doctor's appointments and
right. But I do feel like it's a little bit of both. Like, I don't know, especially now because I have an older kid who's about to be out of the house in a few short years. I'm like, holy fuck, I gotta prepare him for the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do feel like as a mom, you have to do both. Like you're trying to prevent things from happening, but you're also trying to promote them to
do the laundry,
move out of your house, and like survive.
Think for yourself. Maybe that one. Yeah.
Fill your own damn water bottle.
Right?
Like, really?
Think about it before you leave. Yeah. Well, you didn't do that for me. Really? Was that my job? Yeah. No, it's your job. But you don't think like that, do you? A small stepper or a big stepper? You take tiny baby steps or big steps?
I don't even remember this part, but
I like to do big steps. I know that about myself. I like to take on a big project and bam, and do it and then take a break.
I think I'm that way too.
But at the same time, again, being a mom, being a Girl Scout leader, all those things sometimes lean towards the small steppers. I mean, some projects are just small step based, and that's just the way you have to do them because you can't just blast out the Girl Scout stuff. Okay, we're going to do this huge thing and I'm just going to sit back for the rest of the year.
Right.
But I think my inclination and what I prefer is to go, let's take on this big project and throw everything into it and then be done. And I think some of that is an extension of having been an actress and like, let's put on a show, and you do all this work to do a play, to get a play ready, and you do it, or a movie or whatever, and then it's over.
Right. We did it.
We did it.
Oh, maybe.
Interesting.
So she says, if you understand the 7 essentials, which is the habits you should be forming, or the end result of the habits you should be forming, and your tendency, who you are, the upholder, whatever, and then your distinctions, if you're night or day, if you're a sprinter, marathoner, these things should help you form some habits, right? To help you keep habits, she said there are pillars of habits that hold the habits up, right? The 4 pillars are monitoring, which is a self-measurement type thing. Make sure you take care of your foundation, which is sleeping, eating, drinking, right, and uncluttering your house. Scheduling things, and accountability, holding yourself accountable, and how you do that. In the scheduling piece was the thing we talked about before, which was the power hour. Did any of you try the power hour?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Life-changing, right?
It's life-changing. I haven't done it since we spoke about it, but I had been doing it in the past.
Right.
Yeah, it's life-changing.
I've done it twice. Twice.
Life-changing.
Yeah.
I made a power hour list.
I didn't move more. I did too.
You did?
Yes, because I felt like all this stupid little stuff, it occurs to me in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, change the light bulb. But when I'm in the bathroom and I notice the light bulb is up, and when I leave the bathroom, it is not in my brain.
I know.
So I have to make a list of like power hour things because, or it just doesn't happen.
Have you set up your Alexa yet?
Oh, yeah.
So, you can make a power hour list on your Alexa.
Oh, that's really smart.
Alexa,
yes.
Put blah, blah, blah on my power hour list. And then then it's on your app on your phone.
Right.
Or you can ask her.
No, I have my grocery list there, but I haven't.
Yeah. To-do list there.
Yeah.
You can name different to-do lists. Yeah. It's awesome. Because then you don't have to. I have Alexa in my bedroom, my kitchen. No, just my bedroom and my kitchen. So at least if I'm in those 2 rooms and the man cave, I can say, hey, put this on my power hour list. That was really helpful too, because I'm the same way.
Yeah.
By the time I've left that room, I don't even remember what I was doing in that room.
Well, and especially since the power hour things are things that aren't really...
They're little nothings.
Yeah, it's little nothings, and it's not immediate. It's not like there's an end date on it. So it just seems like, I'll remember that.
Right. And it's just too much mental clutter. I don't remember any of that.
And that is something you can implement immediately today. Mm-hmm. And it really did. It relieved so much off my brain. I didn't realize how much it relieved off my brain. Just making the power hour list, and then I do 1 power hour a week if I could. Mm-hmm. And then the stuff's just leaving.
When I did the 2, I was like, oh my God, it feels so good. Like the amount of shit that like you don't have to think about anymore, or that's not on that endless to-do list.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great.
I love that part. Yeah. That was my favorite thing of the whole book. I mean, I like learning about myself, but that piece, I really did use. And she said to schedule playtime, to schedule time where you're not working on a habit or working at your job, to really make sure that you have time to play and relax in your life. And I don't think that goes back to my theory long time ago that I read that book about sleep where she said
yes, the 8
and 8, right? The 8 hours for whatever I want. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who didn't listen to that podcast, there was a pre-industrial revolution theory that just kind of was out there where the theory was you have 8 hours for sleep, 8 hours for work, and 8 hours for whatever you want. So 8 hours for whatever you want in my world is like the Girl Scouts. That's not a job. That's something I want. And working out is something that I want to do. So when I started mentally lumping things into 8 hours of whatever I want, it made me feel better about how much I did in the day. It made me feel like I was doing more for myself than I'd realized because I'd lumped everything to either sleep or work.
Yes, the way you reframed that was really helpful to me because there were a lot of obligations like dog walking and Girl Scouts and etc. that I was lumping into have to do
work.
So it was work. And then when you reframed it, I thought about it and it was like, I'm the one who wants the dogs. I love the dogs so much. Of course I want to walk them. Why am I looking at this as a burden instead of a gift? And literally now, every time I walk the dogs, which is several times a day, I think that when I'm walking them, I think I'm lucky to have them. I'm lucky to be able to do this.
That's what we chose. You know? I go to the chiropractor because I choose to go to the chiropractor. That's my 8 hours of something that I want to do. Anyway, are you an abstainer or a moderator?
I always, my entire life before I read this book, I thought I was a moderator. I could not stand, I house sat for this guy once who had a box of cookies in the house, and our mutual friend said, FYI, don't eat the whole box of cookies. He's going to expect them there when he gets back. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to eat his cookies. But he said, Paul will have a cookie every day. And so this box of cookies will last him like months.
Right.
And I was like, what is wrong with him? Who does that? What kind of animal? Like,
what kind of animal?
That is just bizarre to me. It's a monster. But also, like, conversely, like living without the box of cookies in the house, I was like, I'm not living that way. Richard is an abstainer. He needs the house clean of stuff. He doesn't want any junk in the house if he's eating well. And I was like, that's just ridiculous. It's unrealistic. I don't want to be manipulated that way. I want to have choice, whatever. Then I tried abstaining. A couple of years ago, I did a no sugar summer. So literally June through September, no sugar. And it was no added sugar. It wasn't like a Whole30 or something very extreme where I didn't have fruit. So I had fruit and that, but no, and like I'd have ketchup on a burger, but like no sweets basically, like no ice cream, no cookies, no milkshake or whatever. And oh my God, I got so skinny.
You did?
I was thrilled with myself. It felt great. It was wonderful. And I realized just taking that off my plate, taking the option of having sugar, taking the choice out of my hands, freed up so much time and mental energy, because it wasn't even like going somewhere and there were these fabulous cupcakes. It wasn't even a choice about like, well, should I have one? It's just one. There's all of that mental chatter that's like, well, you know, this is a special occasion. It would be kind of rude not to have their, you know, it's their anniversary. They blah, 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 blah. There are a million of what she calls loopholes. And just taking that off my plate was huge, that it was just like, I don't eat sugar.
That's it.
Yeah.
It was an absolute.
It was an absolute. And so I really see the benefit of abstaining. I think that I am an abstainer at heart. I think that is what works for me the best, because I don't think that I have the self-control around something like sugar.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I think we'd all do better as an abstainer, right? Ultimately. Until my train went off the tracks with the cruise at Disneyland 4th of July, I was doing really good with moderation. Like Sunday I was cheating and I was eating whatever I wanted. And I wasn't drinking no glasses of wine during the week.
See, I would say though that is an abstainer. I would say that that's an abstainer with like a modification, saying I have a cheat day.
Well, I was the 6 days a week. I was doing the 21-day fix, like doing it, and then Sunday I just threw it all out the window. And I didn't go crazy. I wasn't like, and it's Oreos and Big Macs and blah. No, I just ate what I wanted and think about it. And that was the night I also was like, well, tonight I'm going to drink wine. And now, you know, with all this going on, I don't drink that much, but a glass of wine a day is a lot of calories when you're trying to lose weight. So I actually did really well with that. And I am someone who can break off one piece of a chocolate bar and eat that one piece and I'm done for the day.
You're a monster.
I don't need anything else. I guess I am a monster. I am that person too. You know, a Girl Scout mom of ours recently lost a lot of weight. And we asked her how she did it. Yeah. And she said, you know what I do? I take one bite of what I want. And that one bite. And she's like, really, honestly, that is really kind of all I want. Like, I don't want 12 ounces of a soda. I want like 4. That's what I really want. So I'll drink the 4 ounces of soda. She's lost so much weight. Yeah. And she's kept it off. We just saw her 4th of July. She still looks great. So for her, she's able to moderate. You know, that's kind of not a bad plan, because what are you never, ever going to take a bite of a biscuit again? But do you really need the whole biscuit? No, not really. Most of the time I'm halfway through the biscuit and I go, I'm kind of done with that. But I feel bad, so I eat the rest of it so I'm not wasteful, instead of just giving yourself permission to eat what you want in a realistic way.
Yes, I think that's the thing is I respect the moderator more than the abstainer, I guess. So I don't like that. What would actually work better for me is probably abstaining. It's the same way that you were with like, oh, I don't want to be an upholder.
Yeah.
I don't want to be an abstainer. I want to be a moderator who's like fun and can have a
not closed
bite
crotched.
of cake. Not closed crotched. Exactly. An abstainer is closed crotched.
Oh my God.
I'm never going to forget that.
The closed crotch.
Yeah.
But I kept going, this woman never has sex, clearly.
Now, instead of dividing the world into like all of her things, I'm going to be dividing the world into closed
Open,
crotch
closed,
and
open and closed. We are all open crotched in this room, I'd like to say. No matter what old Iron Fist says.
Right.
So some things that she said that I liked was to make things easy. And she gave the example of like not joining a gym that's across town because that's easy, that's like the gym to join, but to join the gym that really works in your life. That's why Beachbody was working for me, because I can do 30 minutes. I can. And I can eat the way that she had it laid out until the summer came. I was really successful. I did that from January to June really successfully. And I'm really trying to keep as much of it in place as I could because it was easy. It was really easy for me. So I thought that was good advice to think
huge.
wisely.
It's so simple. I mean, a lot of these things it's such simple advice.
Yeah, but
that
it is things like that where like you kind of need that reminder.
Absolutely. It's game changing to hear it broken down.
But when someone tells you like, just make it easy, you're like, oh yeah,
Yes.
why the fuck would I join a gym across town?
No, I know.
There's one right here. Like,
when we got a
that.
cat,
Yeah.
I went on Facebook and I put out a call I was looking for the best vet around, and I had like 45 comments on it. All these people weighed in on vets around here, and I decided that Woodland Hills was too far, but Burbank was not.
Oh my God.
I was going to Burbank to take her to the vet, and I was thinking, it's a cat, you don't go to the vet that often, and it's true, we didn't. And then we got our first dog, and I had a light bulb moment of, why Burbank when we have the vet that is literally at the end of our street? You can literally walk there in under 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Why the fuck am I doing this? And that has been a game changer.
Yeah. Are you going to Dr. Dogra?
Yeah.
Love Dr. Dogra. I love that man, partly because I can get Priscilla there unassisted.
Yes.
Well,
he's literally in your
walk her
backyard.
there. Yes. But he's a great vet.
Yeah.
Anybody that's had a veterinary practice established that long usually is pretty good. That's very true, though. It's amazing how you go, duh.
Right.
Why was I doing it this way? But it made sense at the time. I thought, okay, I'm going to get all these recommendations, and why?
Well, I did the same thing with my pediatrician. Our pediatrician's in Beverly Hills, and I'm so attached to this pediatrician. And every time something happens, I'm driving to Beverly Hills, which is a nightmare because of the traffic. So then finally I went, why am I doing this? I need to get a pediatrician in the Valley.
Yeah.
But you know how many years? George is 14. I've been driving over there for 8 years. It's stupid. It was
we went through
stupid.
that with our
Still driving to
pediatrician
Santa
too.
Monica.
You are?
Yeah.
Well, I was doing it with the orthodontist too.
It's like
and
once
the dentist,
a year though, for the most part, for my kids.
unless they're injured or something.
Unless they're sick.
Our pediatrician
my
was also
pediatrician.
in Beverly Hills, and I was very attached to her. And we made the decision when Vivian was in preschool, I think, to move over here.
Yeah.
And it was really hard and very emotional, and we were very attached because, I mean, my kids have more medical stuff, so we don't just see the pediatrician once a year.
Right.
And she was there every day. She visited every single day of the 60 days that Vivian was in the NICU when she was born.
Yeah.
And actually she told us she didn't visit one weekend because she was at a conference that weekend, but she sent somebody from her practice on the weekend. So, I mean, we love her and we're very attached to her. It was a really big choice, but it just, the convenience of it, and convenience sounds like it's a sloppy word to use when you're talking about like your kids' health, but just meaning that like I had kids who were a little bit more compromised health-wise. And so it was just so important to have someone that I could literally go 4 minutes down the road instead of then they're sick and in pain or dealing with something and we need to drive an hour.
Right.
Because sometimes Beverly Hills takes an hour.
Sometimes Beverly Hills takes an hour. Yeah. So, yeah. Make things easy. Make things you do impulsively harder for you to do. So overeating, eating cookies, don't put it in your house.
Yeah, or like when I was on a Starbucks ban.
You were on a Starbucks ban?
Oh, I go through a Starbucks ban several times a year. I'm addicted
that's
to
your
Starbucks.
abstainer. Abstainer. I can't moderate.
No,
just full blown or nothing.
So I would drive a different way. You know, there's a Starbucks right an hour.
Now you're
everywhere,
starting
but there's
to
one
sound
right
like H.I. McDonough. You're starting to sound like H.I. McDonough. I caught myself driving by convenience stores that weren't on the way home. You remember that from Raised in Arizona?
Oh, that's funny.
Because he was a convicted felon for robbing convenience stores. So he caught himself driving by convenience stores on his way home right before he fell off the wagon. Anyway, H.I.
Well, when you're addicted to Starbucks, it's challenging because they're everywhere.
You can't go anywhere.
But I literally
You're addicted.
I am. It's an addiction. So I would take Magnolia to go pick Camille up from school instead of taking Riverside.
How funny.
But it helps. It helps to not be driving by because it's very easy to pull into that parking lot.
Make it hard for you to be impulsive. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, it works.
Stupid mobile app.
Another
makes it even easier.
I know the mobile app's the killer.
Oh my God, it's the best thing ever.
It is.
Well, neither of you live in walking distance. You live in walking distance.
Yeah.
It's in my backyard.
Yeah.
I mean, I go out my back gate and I'm in the Starbucks parking lot. So it's super easy to go.
No, I know.
Boop, go get it.
And talk about loopholes. I mean, it's on the way home from school.
Yes.
But walking distance. The loophole that I do. Well, I'll walk over and I'll get some exercise.
Yeah. Yes. I'll burn off those calories before I put them in my mouth. Another thing she said, this is another obvious one, but when you stumble, don't judge. People who feel less regret and judgment toward themselves recover more quickly.
Yes, that's simple, but it's also profound. That is a profound truth.
And it's also hard to remember that.
Yeah.
If you're one of those people who beats yourself up a lot, when you fall or stumble, you know, it is very hard to recover from that. So it's nice to have somebody sort of validate, like, it's not a big deal. It's just a stumble. It's okay.
It's just 6 weeks of summer, eating everything fried you could get your hands on. It's okay.
But just wait.
Just wait.
They'll be back in school in no time.
In no time, right?
And then I'll be pissed off that they're in school.
And then you'll have 10 months of being on track.
Right.
So
that will be good.
You'll be good.
That'll be all good.
Right.
So she has all these loophole spotting. Like, I'm just going to read through them. Moral licensing. Like, you can have the chips because you worked out. That's a loophole.
That is a big one for me.
Tomorrow, obviously. I'll do that. Start that tomorrow. False choice. I haven't been writing. I've been too busy working out. Right? Mm-hmm. Making an excuse like that. Lack of control. If I spend a lot of time worrying, the plane is less likely to crash. Okay. Arranging to fail. Like, I'll load the dishwasher before I work out. Oops. Now I don't have time to work out before I pick up the kids.
Yes. And she also says somewhere in there that work is, she says it more elegantly than this, but work is the biggest form of procrastination. So not necessarily your job work, but like
busy work.
Yeah, I just need to, I mean, the dishwasher isn't going to load itself.
Right.
The laundry isn't going to do itself. And so they're legitimate things that need to be done, but it's a way to get out of doing the thing that you really wanted to do or need to do.
It's a way to procrastinate.
Right. Yeah. Right. This doesn't count. I won't work out because I'm on vacation. Questionable assumption. I can't start working until my office is clean. I used to do that.
Yeah.
Well, once I get all this done, then I can do that.
Yep.
Well, that stuff's never done, you know?
Right.
Not really. Concern for others. It will hurt my girlfriend's feelings if I leave and go for a run. Those are all loopholes that people give themselves to not continue or maintain a habit. So maybe if you can recognize that, you can stop doing it. She said treats can be an important tool. It's like a celebration. like I am not a Scientologist, but I know one of the Scientologists I don't know, requirements, I guess, is that you celebrate when you accomplish something, because they believe that it marks it like in your psyche, that when you celebrate something, you own that something that you've accomplished in a different way, in a more visceral way, that if you don't mark your accomplishments, the accomplishments mean less. So I was like, that's interesting that she's kind of saying the same thing. You should give yourself a treat to say, good job.
Yes.
It's a good job. You did
yes,
a good job.
but then she distinguishes between healthy treats
and rewards are like sort of undermine the actual habit formation.
Right.
There's like what I actually wrote it down because I was like, what is it? The reward is the habit itself. Like you have to reframe that. Like, I can take today off because I've exercised for 9 days or whatever. It's like, I think she used an example about like a company, you get free gym membership if you work out X number of days this year. So the reward is you don't have to pay for your membership next year. So your reward is more exercise.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of reframing if this is your habit.
Right.
Instead of giving yourself a break from the habit.
Right. Instead
that was really interesting.
You get a cupcake because you.
Right.
That makes sense. Then she talked about pair one thing you want or need to do with one thing you don't want to do, like watching TV while you work out.
That has been the greatest for me when it has worked. The configuration of our household stuff. We used to have the TV in front of the elliptical, and so literally I would just DVR all of these shows, and the only time I would watch TV. This is before Game of Thrones, so that's a social thing. Richard and I did that together, but anything that I would watch would be only on the elliptical, and I was working out all the time.
Right? Because you wanted to watch TV. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, but it was a nice little treat. It was like a healthy reward, and the pairing of it worked really, really well, because I'd look forward to getting on the elliptical because I was like, I want to see what's happening in my show. But it no longer works. We got rid of that TV and whatever. That doesn't work anymore. But now I read while I'm on the elliptical.
Well, I know a lot of people say that about podcasts. I wanted to start walking, and I was like, what am I going to listen to music the whole time? And then they start listening to podcasts, and that motivates them to walk. They want to walk longer so they can finish the podcast before they stop. I've had so many people tell me that.
Yep, that works for distance running. I think that's probably how I got into podcast listening.
Was distance running. Yep. Does that for me for driving, which is not a good habit. It's just a life.
Yeah.
I drive to and from Pasadena a couple times a week, which is an hour round trip. So then I'm like, awesome. I can listen to this podcast because I don't want to listen to music. Who wants to hear, baby, why don't you just meet me in the middle?
That's still a good life hack, though.
Or,
I mean, it's still a good use of time, though, because you can feel productive.
I feel productive. Yeah. Yes, it makes me feel positive. That's kind of all I wrote down about the book. Do you guys have anything about the book that you want to discuss? You obliger, upholder, you? You want to go through the questions?
Yeah, so the questions, the first question is, if you could magically, effortlessly change a few habits, which habits would you pick and why? I mean, that's just really personal. No, I don't mean too personal to share, but I just mean it's like
it's closed crotch.
I like my crotch.
I'm not talking about it
because clearly this is too personal and it is currently closed.
No, I just mean it's not that interesting. It's like
it's just personal. It's too personal. I don't really bikini wax as much as I would like.
Oh my God.
I need to work on my feminine hygiene. It's just too personal. No, I'm so funny. What habits? Read it again.
If you could magically, effortlessly change a few habits, which habits would you pick and why?
It's too personal. What habits would you pick and why?
I would write every day. I would make the time for myself to write every day. And that is the first thing that sort of falls by the wayside when children are home from school, or when there are responsibilities, or when somebody asks me to watch their kid, or whatever. That falls away. So that is what I would pick. It's not that it's that personal or magical, but
that's a good one though. And if you think about it now, if that's the one thing you wish for, how could you make that happen effortlessly? Is there a way that you could make it happen if you even just said 15 minutes
Yeah. So I have a good friend who just wrote a fabulous novel, The Devil's Half Mile. It's a historical crime fiction.
Wow.
His name's Patty Hirsch, really excellent author. And his advice, he said the best advice he ever got from another author was 5 minutes a day. So the same way that I did it with learning Norwegian, which I'm now on day 303.
Nice.
My streak. But he said to create a streak and just 5 minutes a day, because that's something that even if you're on an airplane, you can go into the notes section of your phone and just type out 5 minutes, because it's really the habit formation, not the length of time. You can always build on the length, but the habit formation is really important. So yeah, so I should do that. But have I done that? Patty told me this months ago.
Right.
He said, do it the same as Norwegian, 5 minutes a day. And have I done it every day? No.
It's hard. You feel like you have 8 million things you should do for 5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is enriching. I've been trying to do that with reading books that aren't for like educational like just to read.
Yeah.
I've been like, you know what? I can do 10 minutes. And before you know it, you've read the book. And sometimes I want to read. I don't want to stop after 10 minutes, but I'm like, I can't. I don't have any more time. But I have started doing that this summer because I was like, I always like to read a summer book, just summer reading for fun. Yeah. And I haven't been doing that. So I was like, I'm going to read a book this summer for fun.
So this is unrelated to this habit, but just if I thought this was some of the most fascinating advice I ever got as a parent. When Camille was in kindergarten, her kindergarten teacher said, I'm sure you all know that reading to your kids is important. And I'm like, yeah, we got that covered. We got it.
10-4.
Exactly. I mean, we read to our kids so much, as I'm sure you guys did.
Yeah.
And she said, but one thing that you may not be doing that is equally important is to have your kids see you reading. Mm-hmm. She said, and I'm not talking about on a Kindle or a phone or an iPad or the computer, because even though you may be reading a novel or a newspaper or whatever, kids just see you on technology. Right. And she said, and I'm sure that most of you are saving your reading. You're very busy with your kids. You're great parents. And you wait until they're asleep at night. And in bed, you read for 10 minutes. And she said, and that is not helping your kids. Your kids need to see you enjoying a book or enjoying a newspaper or magazine, however shallow it is. It could be People magazine that you're flipping through, but they need to see that reading isn't a chore, that it's something fun that continues through adulthood, because we're always like, reading's fun.
Right.
Do this here. Look at this great book. And yet when they don't see us enjoying it, the message is lost. They're like, yeah, it's fun. That's, that sort of code for medicine.
Right.
And
it's grape flavored reading.
Right.
Yeah. That was sort of earth shattering for me, because I thought, wow, that is something I do not do for my kids. Right. I wait until they're squirreled away in bed and then I open a book. So that's something that changed big time for Richard and I once that teacher said that.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Really good advice.
Anyway, I know it's not really germane to anything, but we were talking about reading for 10 minutes a day.
Totally. What would you change, Cathy?
I think if it were effortlessly, I would change actually taking a minute for myself. I don't do that. I don't ever prioritize myself. None of that stuff. It always falls by the wayside. And it's not something super specific about writing or whatever, but making a doctor's appointment. I'm like, whatever, I'm fine. I don't need one. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
You gotta put it in your power hour.
I should put it in my power hour, but it's I don't know if it's an avoidance thing or whatever. I'm like, oh, it's just not necessary. And it's such bad thinking.
It is.
And it does send a message to your kids
I don't matter.
I don't matter, or it's not important to take care of yourself, or it's not important to carve out time for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they pick up on that stuff because they pick up on everything. Yeah. But that would be the one thing that would be, if someone could change that internally for me, that'd be awesome.
Well, maybe you should start thinking like this. What advice would you give your closest friend if they said that to you? If they said to you, I just don't take time to even make a doctor's appointment for myself because I just am the lowest on my priority.
Absolutely. And you would
What
say,
would you
Leanne,
say?
that
You'd
is
say, well, you're
unacceptable.
stupid.
I would say you're a moron.
Yeah,
Yes.
you would. You'd say you're a moron. You'd say you're stupid.
Absolutely.
So, in one
Yeah.
of my podcasts, it was the one about depression. I don't know if you've listened to that one. But Amy, the therapist, said she has people depressed people write a letter to themselves, right? Fully about how they're feeling. I hate you. You're a horrible person. Whatever is going on inside. And then when it's over, she asks them to change Dear Cathy to Dear Leanne. And then read it. And then think, would I ever say these things to another person? Then why would I say that to myself? Such a powerful exercise. Yeah, what a powerful exercise.
And it's a paradigm shift.
It's a complete paradigm shift. And not just it doesn't have to be about something like depression. It could be about your creativity. I suck. I'm the worst writer. I don't have any reason to think I could be writing. Of course you don't take time because it's useless. Right. And then change the name of the top. You'd be horrified.
This is homework for all of us, not about depression, but about, you can write yours about why,
right. Why I'm not a priority.
You're not worth taking the time to make the doctor's appointment. You're not whatever. Right. And I'll do that about the writing. You can do that about whatever.
I don't know what habit I have. I'm perfect. So I don't know what habit I have. I want to get back in my habit of working out. And it was pretty effortless. And I think I will once. I'm leaving on Sunday for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I can work out while I'm there, but I'm not in my home. I'm not in my routine. What habit would I change effortlessly? I think I would change the habit. This is going to be, you're going to think this is stupid probably, of taking care of everybody instead of asking them to take care of themselves. It's so much effort for me to go, hey guys, can you pick up your shoes? For the 4th time today I've asked you. I think that's a habit. I just pick them up.
Yeah.
I just clean them up. I just clear the table. I just do the laundry and I don't stop and go, no, actually, I shouldn't be doing all of this. You should be doing your part of this. So that's a habit. It's just a habit because it's easier to do it than to stop and make everybody else do it. But in the long term, if I stop and make everybody else do it long enough, they'll start doing it themselves, in theory.
You know what? That's actually a really good thing to do, though, in the summer. That's actually the perfect time to start. So you're at the perfect moment. Because during the school year, a lot of the time it's like, there's the loophole of, they have homework.
Yeah.
And then they've got the piano lesson.
I feel like
and
we
then
walk in the
Girl
door
Scouts.
at 6 p.m. and they haven't even started homework. We've got dinner, homework, showers.
So to ask them to do this thing that's going to take longer for them to do.
Argue with them about clearing the dinner table.
Yeah.
I'll just do it. Because it's easier.
That's perfect.
But
actually,
that's
a good message to all of us. That the summer is the perfect time to start that. I did that unknowingly last night because I was just so fucking tired. We're still on the other time zone. I was just let them stay up late to watch a movie, and then I regretted it immediately because I was just fried. Lark, not an owl. And we realized that the cat had thrown up on Camille's bed earlier in the day, and I'd washed the sheets, so her bed was unmade. So suddenly it's 11 o'clock at night and with an unmade bed. And I was just at my wit's end. And I said, okay, we've got to make your bed. And then somehow she wasn't in bed. And I was like, why aren't you in bed? And she said, because my bed isn't made. And I was like, you're 13 years old. You can make your bed. And she's like, okay. And like that. Okay, where do I start? And I said, start with a mattress pad. And she's, what's the mattress pad? And I was like, oh my God, I have a 13-year-old who doesn't even know what the mattress pad is because I've been handling this all of these years. Right. And, at a certain point, they are too little to stretch it all out, and her bed is sort of slightly too thick to accommodate it all, and there's a lot of wrestling or whatever. But I was just tired enough that I was like, figure it out. I was like, it's over there, figure it out. And she did. She actually did a pretty good job.
Totally. They can figure it out.
Yeah.
We just don't ask them to.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't require it of
because
them.
it's a habit.
Because it's a habit. Because it's easier to do it yourself.
Easier.
Yeah. Than to have it. Bert and I had this conversation the other day. This is one of the things. Bert is so sweet. the other night, he said, I feel like you just don't ever let me help you. And I went, well, we're in a tough situation because 5 days a week, you're not here to help me. So for the 2 days a week, I either have to shift my paradigm from the other 5 days and, oh, he's here now, he can help me. But you helping me is sometimes not helpful. Like if I say, hey, can you take out the garbage? And 2 hours later, I have to say, hey, can you take out the garbage? And 2 hours later, I'm saying, dude, can you take out the fucking garbage? I'm annoyed by then. It's just easier for me to do it myself. And I said, I'm not saying you don't maliciously go, fuck you, I'm not taking out the garbage. You are thinking about something else entirely. It is not the way you work. And you're not here 5 days a week. So for 5 days a week, you don't go, maybe I should check the garbage. Somebody else does that. It's not his habit
to have that
so
habit.
for me to expect you to magically change is crazy. And for you to expect me to magically change is also kind of crazy. So it is when you offer to help and you help in the ways that connect with you, like dropping off, picking up kids, like that kind of stuff, that's amazing. But you really can't help me in some ways because the help that I get from you is not really the help I need. Like when I say, hey, take out the garbage, he said, it's so funny. We have to put our garbage cans in the alley, and then after they are dumped, we have to roll them back in from the alley. And that's 1 day a week he's always home. So he was like, why don't you tell me and I'll help you do that? He's like, I don't want to do it alone because it sucks, but I'll help you do it, and then at least it's easier for you. So the other day I was walking out the back door and I said, do you want to help me roll the garbage in? He's like, yeah. So I'm walking to the garbage and he goes, hey, wait a minute. You mean like now? And I went, yes, I'm walking to the alley. And he's like, well, I don't want to do it now. And I said, well, I'm doing it now. And he's like, oh, fine. Then I'll do it now too, I guess. I guess now I'm doing it now. And I'm like, yeah, we're doing it now. Now's when I ask. Now's when I need it. I don't ask you to need it 2 hours from now. I ask you when I need it. Well, I don't always want to give it when you ask it. So then you go, well, then we're at an impasse. Always at an impasse. So then you can't help me.
I'm going to drop off that 4 Tendencies book. Maybe she'll have some suggestions for dealing with the rebel.
With rebels? Well, I don't want to do it now. Well, then when were you planning to do it? After you've forgotten and I've reminded you 4 times? That makes me feel awesome. Yes, do that. What's the next question?
The next question. Unlike most habit formation experts, Gretchen Rubin emphasizes that the most important step in changing a habit is to know yourself. Do you agree? Did reading this allow you to see yourself more clearly?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. Sure. Then it asks which upholder, questioner, obliger, or rebel. We already did that. What steps might you take to strengthen your foundation?
Your foundation.
What are the foundations?
What's the foundation? I forgot.
Foundation.
Wait. Oh, that's probably all the things like getting enough sleep and eating right and exercising, whatever.
No, the foundation is sleep, move, eat, and drink right, and unclutter. What was the question again?
What steps might you take to strengthen your foundation?
Go back on the 21-day fix.
Yeah.
Not go back to school because my sleep has been rocking. Since school's been out, I've been 8 hours a night. I love it.
Okay. Have you ever found it easier to form a habit, good or bad, when you were starting something new, when you were taking the first steps, or when you had a clean slate? So, yeah, I use the example of a new job and the stairs. I read a study about heroin use in Vietnam vets that when they were in Vietnam, that many of them started a heroin habit, which is obviously a horrible habit. And when they came back to the States, a surprisingly small number continued with that habit. And the study showed that many habits are situational like that.
Right.
That it was like, well, when I'm fighting a war in a foreign country, I will use heroin. And when I'm back in the States, I do my regular stuff. I go to my regular places. And they extrapolated from that heroin users in the United States currently, that one of the most helpful things, and this is not taking into account methadone and other, chemical ways to deal with it, but one of the most helpful things is to take the person out of that situation, out of that place. So to move apartments, like to move cities if possible, like to change the chain, because in the same way that it's easier for me to stop at Starbucks if I drive down Riverside to go to school.
Right.
It's like when you're doing your same things, and then this is where I get my heroin, or this is where I do it. These are the people that I do it with.
Right.
And they found that sometimes just changing cities or even neighborhoods or even apartments, even just small steps, can change that. And I mean, that's a pretty hardcore habit. That's a habit that has physical ramifications too, but that sometimes that is one of the best steps. So
Bert just had a podcast guest that did that. What was her name? Jessa Reed, who is a meth addict, and that's how she quit. She moved to Baltimore because she said, I don't know anybody in Baltimore. I don't know how to get the drugs in Baltimore. I don't know how to function in that capacity. And she moved. I didn't listen to the podcast, but that's what he was telling me. Wow. Yeah. That's how she kicked it, was to just remove herself from that environment entirely. That's pretty interesting. Yeah. So then should I move out? And hope they all start putting their own shit up and then come back at some point? How's that garbage going for you, Bert? Good.
Yeah.
It's the clean slate theory, isn't it?
Clean slate, yeah. What else is there? Have you ever been hit by a lightning bolt so that your habits changed overnight?
I found this whole thing fascinating.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, and actually I have one habit that like just... That's what it was. One day you were like,
what was it?
I don't know why. This is the stupidest thing ever.
Bikini wax.
It's my bikini wax. No, I don't know why, but like I was clearly reading some study a while ago about like sugar and how bad it is for you, whatever. And one day I just realized like I put sugar in my coffee. Why would I do that? It's so bad. I'm never going to stop eating sweets. I'm never going to I bake all the time. Like that's not going to change. But why would I purposely add sugar to my coffee? I was like, oh, I'm not doing that anymore.
I did that habit.
I haven't done it in years. Like
Same
now,
thing. Yep.
That's huge.
Like it was so weird, but it was literally one day I was like, oh, I'm not doing that. Never
I had that same habit where I went, why am I adding sugar to my coffee? That's so stupid.
Right.
Do I even like it this sweet?
Yeah.
And then when I stopped, I don't like it that sweet.
No, it's terrible.
It's awful.
But for decades, I drank it like that.
Me too.
And then just one day I was like, it's over.
I did the same thing.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
But like, why that? How many studies have I read about a million other things? Like sugar's still bad, yet I bake with it every day. Right. You know what I mean?
Like you're not a questioner though, so that doesn't affect your motivation. I mean, you can appreciate the research, but it doesn't affect your intrinsic motivation.
You're an obliger because everyone in your house is still addicted to sugar. You're an enabler.
Yes, I'm an enabler.
Joking. No, it's not realistic, I think, to give up sugar forever. You
no,
have to be
I know,
so hardcore.
But it's just interesting that like
Gretchen Rubin is closed crotch. We have already determined she is a square. I don't love her. I did not have a good reaction to her. I was like, and I don't know her. I have no reason to have this reaction, but my visceral reaction was, I do not like this lady. And maybe it's because she was telling me things I didn't want to hear. Or I was learning things about myself I didn't like.
I love her like a sister way where you're like, oh, we're totally different people, but I love having her in my life.
Like your sister in Girl Scouts. Like she's a Girl Scout sister, like you have same philosophies. Kind of.
No, not even that. No, I just mean like a family member where you're just like, oh, I could never live the way they do, but I love them. Like,
it's like her big taco sister.
It's her
Girl Scouts.
So what, did you ever have a lightning bolt habit change?
I can't think of one.
Is it personal? I had one. Yeah. Besides the sugar one, because I did that too. I literally was pouring the sugar into my coffee going, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? Was my podcast with Jair.
Oh, yeah.
That behavioral analyst guy, where I went, why am I doing these things? That was the impetus for starting the podcast, for shifting the way I looked at stuff in my house. It didn't form a specific habit, but it definitely shifted my paradigm, where I went, I have to start taking better care of myself. I need to put myself first in certain ways. What does that look like? How I didn't realize I was still emotionally so bad off in a ditch until he did that. podcast with me. And then I went, okay, a lot of stuff has to change right now. That was a lightning bolt for me. It was powerful. I'm scared. I want him to come back and do some, like, you two or somebody, and see how it affects you, because I don't know that everybody takes the information the way I did from him. I took it very seriously, because Bert definitely did not take it very seriously. A lot of times, Halston reminded him of something the other day. He was like, "Yeah, don't you remember Jair told you that in the podcast?" And he was like,
loves chaos.
"Really? That he loves chaos?
But isn't that
he
obvious?
thrives in chaos." And we're like, "Have you seen my house?
obvious.
Right.
My house is all chaos." I mean, Bert's like, if I don't see one piece of myself everywhere in the house, I feel like I'm disappearing. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm disappearing into your chaos. You're like a black hole of chaos. But that was my lightning bolt. That was a really powerful day. I wish everyone who wanted an experience like that could have it, because it really did, like, pop me in the back of the head and say, what are you doing? Wake up. I'm still a work in progress, but I feel like I really shifted my focus. Anyway.
That's really cool. We talked about abstainer moderator already. That was on this list. Convenience and inconvenience. We just talked about that. It's just asking, how have you used convenience or inconvenience to shape your habits? I think we already talked about all
we
this,
did.
didn't we? In reading the chapter on loophole spotting, did any category sound particularly familiar? What forms do your loopholes take? Yeah, they were totally familiar to me.
Almost all of them.
I was going to say at different points. All of them
yes,
are
different
very
situations.
relevant. Yeah.
What are some of your treats, both healthy and unhealthy?
Ooh.
I don't know. This is one that I didn't have an answer for. I know my unhealthy treats: Starbucks, chocolate.
Healthy
See, that's
treat.
so funny. My Starbucks treat is like, okay, so maybe it's not healthy, but like I get coffee from that. Like Thursday's my day.
Thursday's your day? What do you mean?
Thursday's my day. Like, it's this is going to sound so terrible, but
I gave you a coffee bean gift card. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll drink coffee bean too.
Okay.
It's not as
some
good.
people
No, I'm
are
just kidding.
specific.
No, like Thursday is the day that my mother-in-law is not at home.
Oh
the
my
day
God.
that she's gone for 4 hours. So it is my time to sort of rejuvenate. Like I need time where there's no one around. And Thursday morning is that day.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? So like Thursday morning, I go, I drop the kids off, I exercise, I get my coffee, I go home, and then it doesn't matter if I'm fucking scrubbing toilets. Like it's uninterrupted. It's just my time to like whatever.
That is a healthy treat.
Yeah.
That is
I
100%
feel like
a healthy
it's-
treat. No, we're
it's
talking
for
about
my
two
mental
different things.
state.
That's
We're
not
talking
like-
about
it
my
may not be the
addiction.
healthiest
No,
treat in
we're
terms
talking
of,
about
like,
no.
500 calories.
Coffee
in my venti,
is healthy. Studies show that.
Antioxidant.
And
really
you're
healthy.
obviously not dumping sugar in it anymore. Having me time is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
About you.
I guess that's true. Right?
That's
That is
awesome.
my-
I love your Thursday routine.
I'm
talking about chai tea latte that is loaded with sugar and that I would drink every single day
You
of
mean
my
the
life.
mocha frappuccino? That's like, bleh.
Yeah, every day of my life if I could.
So my suggestion
funny.
would be, in that 4 hours, do one thing, like make a doctor's appointment that's about taking care of yourself.
Yeah. It's not like me time. It's got to go in the power hour. That's actually a better place for it.
Okay.
Honestly. I don't know why. But mentally, I
hear
feel
you,
like
though. She needs a break on Thursdays.
a break from what? I don't really know. But
From hectic being a
You
mom.
work your ass off. You're
Mainly my
You live with your
Very-
mother-in-law. Come on.
Yes, you live with your mother-in-law. You're a very busy, very involved.
It's funny because actually the
parent and
power
person.
hour very often happens on Thursdays
Huh, interesting.
because I feel great after it's done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is
so like it
liberating.
really is like a mental like
It is.
decluttering, which is awesome.
It is a mental
So-
decluttering. Where in your
on
house is the most cluttered? Where in your house is somewhere that if you could declutter, you'd feel a lot better?
Our office 100%, because our office is sort of like a multi-purpose room. It used to be the kids' playroom, and so there's a bookshelf.
Where is
in
it?
there.
In your
It's,
house?
right off of the living room. I usually close the door when you guys come over because
I've
that's also
never
where the
seen
litter
it.
box
Right.
is, where all of my sewing stuff is, where all the puzzles and games, books. It's a multi-purpose. All the Girl Scout stuff ends up in there.
That's a 4-bedroom house?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Sneaky.
Well, there's small bedrooms.
Sneaky, though. Sneaky of you.
Yeah,
Sneak
no, it
that
looks like shit.
bedroom
I'll
in.
show you sometime when, well, maybe I'll miraculously get my ass in gear and clean it up, and then next time you come over, you'll be wowed by my amazing office. More likely, you'll come over, there will be a door closed, and I'll say, Leanne, remember you were asking about the office?
Let me
Here
show
it
you.
is. It looks like
is why the
shit.
door's still
Now you can feel better about your chaos, because this is worse.
Your chaos is at least localized. Mine starts at the front door and ends at the back.
It's like wrapping papers in there. The office, like the computer, it is an office, and I work from home, so the office, the computer, and the desk and everything is there. There's too much going on in one room.
Right.
Yeah.
It's your catch-all,
unmanageable.
sort of. What about you, Cathy?
I don't know. That's a really good question, because it would have been in my other house, it would have been the office. My desk is just like the dumping ground for everything that walks through our front door. But since we've moved, I don't have an office. My desk is in my bedroom, and I'm like, oh, that shit ain't going. First of all, it's as far away from the front door as you could possibly get.
Yes, it is.
And so nothing ends up there, which is great, because I'm like, I can't have that in my bedroom.
Right.
Like, I need that to not be chaos, because I'm looking at it going to sleep. Like, that's not happening.
No.
But it's actually interesting, because now the dumping ground is like, there's a kitchen counter when you walk in the front door, like it's right there. So that's sort of where stuff, and I'm trying to keep on top of it. Like, this needs to stay clear, take all of your shit to your bedroom or whatever. But I don't know, the house isn't totally done yet. Like, there are boxes that are unpacked, and I'm like, I don't really want to.
Yeah.
Like, can we just get rid of all of this stuff? And I know my family is not going to be on board with that, but
Yeah.
I'm like, let's just leave it the way it is. It's nice with no clutter.
Right.
So I don't know where it is right now. I would say probably that kitchen space when you walk in the front door. Everything just sort of gets dumped there.
Right.
But, you know, whether it's like the backpacks or the karate bag or the shoes that get taken off and left right in the middle. I'm like, you can't even walk to the kitchen.
Yeah. I have that, and the shoes
I
are
have
size
that.
12 men's. They're like boats.
Ours are getting there.
They're like tripping over a boat in the middle of my living room, dining room, kitchen, foyer, everywhere. My place is our pantry. Our pantry is like an uphill battle because, you know, Bert goes to the grocery store. I need 1 can of diced tomatoes. He'll bring 4. It happens every time. I just didn't want you to run out. I didn't want you to need any more. So when we first remodeled our house and moved back in, my pantry was amazing. I even left room in anticipation of his overbuying. And it has gone berserk. So, and I recently cleaned it out and like took out all the expired food and got rid of anything that was bad. And it just happens again. I cannot keep that space the way I like it. And I keep trying. So I don't know. That's one place. I mean, my whole house feels cluttered to me all the time because I live with 3 messy Marvins.
Well, also, none of us live in giant houses.
Right.
That should
No.
also be said.
Well, you're right.
Yes.
Because compared to like back home for me in Ontario, Canada, but back east, houses are a lot larger.
They're like 3,000
Yes.
square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2,500
Yeah.
square feet
Yeah.
as a pretty standard house back
Yeah.
east. My house is 1,800
Yeah.
square
Ours
feet.
is like 1,500.
Yeah.
So just 4 people living in a smaller space than what other people are living with, it's harder to manage stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
Especially when you live with an extreme overbuyer. Extreme
Or
overbuyer.
hoarders.
Yes.
My children hoard everything.
I think children are natural hoarders.
Children are
I
natural
really
hoarders.
think they are, but it's crazy making.
Yes, very crazy making.
Bert is stunted. His growth was stunted at about 9. So he hoards like a 9-year-old. It's awful. I bought 4 new pair of Nikes. They're size 12. There is hard to store 4 new pair of Nikes. I don't, whatever. So we were talking about time management last time and the power hour, the last time, which was the impetus for reading this book. And about I don't remember what else. I should have listened to that podcast before we did this one. To remind myself of what specifically we talked about.
Well, one thing that you brought up in the last one was the idea of having specific days for things, which
Yes.
Kathy's obviously doing with the Thursday, which I love.
Right.
It's very inspiring to me to take one day a week for your stuff, which doesn't necessarily mean that you're not getting any work done, but just that's me
that's
time.
The focus. Right.
But I loved the way that you did that. My conflict, I've actually been thinking about that a lot since we had that podcast, and just trying to figure out how it works vis-a-vis the other people in your life. Because if you have like Monday as errand day and Wednesday you're unreachable and Thursday is your volunteering day or whatever, what if my days are completely different? When do we meet for Girl Scouts? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like if everybody in your life has those days blocked out, then the likelihood of them being in conflict is pretty strong.
Well, remember what I said I did. I don't know if maybe I didn't say this. When I had stuff like that, I had that one day that was like a free day where I was like, this is the swing day sort of. So like if Tuesday's my errand day, but Tuesday we need to meet, I would just move my errand day to that open day. So I had one day a week that was like an overflow day. So I only really had 4 days a week that was scheduled.
Okay.
And then the 5th day was whatever I needed it to be. So if nothing moved into that day or nothing happened that day, that was the day I'd go, you know what, I'm just going to last minute, I'm going to go get a massage. I'm going to go get my nails done. Or I'm going to go return all these things we've bought that need returning that I didn't get to at the errand day. It was kind of one of those days. I always had one day a week that was kind of open.
So that idea really appeals to me. And I've obviously been thinking about it for months now. And I've also been using a lot of loopholes to avoid doing it because I've been like, well, if I do this, then I'm going to be unavailable if we need to meet for Girl Scouts or if, if work is more pressing on this day or whatever. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna try to structure that for starting when school starts.
When school starts,
yes. Because I feel like I had my schedule. I fell off of it. I still have the schedule. I look at it and I'm like, this is great. And then I'm like, errand day can't happen because I've got a kid who doesn't want to come on errands and they're not in camp this week. So how does that happen? Like everything, I feel like the summer is shit.
The summer's a wash.
So it
for
does
that kind
feel
of stuff.
that way. So I feel like that hasn't happened at all.
It's just a pause.
But I need to,
pause button.
But I guess
for the 21-day fix.
That's a good reminder. It's a good reminder for me to hear that everybody else is going through the same frustration with the pause, because I think we're all in the same boat. Like we love our kids. We love spending time with them. I love that they have unstructured time. They need some unstructured time.
Yeah,
They're so structured during the year.
Yeah.
But it's very frustrating when you're really trying to be a little more close-crotched about things and like just be on your game. It's frustrating to have that pause, but it's at least validating to hear that everybody's going through it, that I'm not alone.
No, I think we're probably more together than most, and where some of this is concerned.
Maybe.
I can't imagine working full time like in an office and having to get all this done. I mean, I work plenty. I work probably almost 40 hours a week anyway. Not that much for Bert, but by the time you add everything up together, the t-shirts, the Bert cast, my stuff, it's a lot. But I'm not beholden to a boss, and I don't have to be there from 9 to 5, and I can go to the grocery store whenever I want. That would be really hard.
I
don't know how I did it for years, but I don't remember how I did it. I've blocked it out. It's like that hormone that releases after childbirth, where you're like, nah, I don't even remember how I did that.
Right. It wasn't painful at all.
Oh, no. That was no pain, no trauma, no rotting meat smell. Let's do it again.
Fine.
What else is in that?
Oh, where are we? Lupus spotting. We talked about treats. People exert enormous influence over each other's habits. Have you ever picked up a habit from someone else?
You did. You said from Richard.
Yeah.
Working out.
Yeah, I'm sure I've picked up other ones too, but I don't know.
Yeah, I can't really think of any, I'm sure. But
I don't know if I've ever picked up a habit from someone else. I'm sure I have too. Yeah. We all do, right?
Yeah.
At some point.
If you could change a habit of someone close to you, what habit would you choose?
I know my answer.
Can you think of ways to help that person change the habit?
No.
Yeah.
I would have Bert put his shoes and clothing where they belong instead of strewing it all over my house. But I don't know how to fix that. I've been trying to fix that for 16 years. So, Yeah, if I could magically, just like our magical one.
Right.
That would be my
Magic
magical
would be
one.
great.
Just his shoes and clothes. I actually don't even care about the rest. It's so massive, the explosion of shoes and clothes every day. Not to mention the cups and glassware that he uses all day long. But it would be really helpful, especially the shoes, because I trip over the shoes all the time. What about you, Cathy?
I think I really wish Stephen would get back to going to the gym. Like, I wish that was a habit he did not drop. That's the first thing that goes when he gets stressed, when has a lot to do at work. And it's the worst thing to go. Like, mentally, physically, like everything. And he feels terrible. And like, I really wish that he would get back into that habit.
And how can you help him do that? That was the other part of that question. I don't know.
That's a really good question. We talk about it. I encourage.
You can get him to take the test and find out
share
if he's
with
a
him
questioner
how
or
important it is.
Just fat shaming.
Like,
you're so fucking fat, Stephen. Did I see you in that size 28 waist pants the other day?
Remember how they didn't fit?
Right, no.
No, like, it scares me for his health. You know, like, neither of his parents have very good health. So genetically, I'm like, you know, this is not okay for you. And he's in far better shape than either of his parents, but still.
Yeah. He's not fat. He's just,
but
working out is something that is good for men in particular.
Yes.
For health.
Like, for his heart, for his mental stability, like, just everything. It would be so much better for him.
For everything,
I wish that would happen for him.
What about you?
No, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But this is one of the ones that I was like, oh, I'd like to think about that. I need to take some time to think about that.
The habit of someone close to you?
Yeah, just how to support them. Meaning, someone close to me would probably be someone in my household. So just how to support them in a better habit.
Right.
So of your current habits, which ones work best for you? Any lessons there to apply to habits that are more challenging? Yeah, I already said that one. I do 5 minutes a day for Norwegian, which doesn't matter at all. And I can't seem to do 5 minutes a day of writing. Yeah, I should absolutely take what got me into that habit and apply it to that. And
good deal. What about you, Cathy?
I don't know that I have so many good habits.
You do. I think your good habit you just talked about is your Thursday. And if you could let that carry over into actually making the doctor's appointments and prioritizing yourself, not just for a couple hours once a week, that maybe, I think that could be helpful.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how to carry that over, but yeah, I'm not sure, really.
Must be nice to be perfect and not need any habits.
Yes, it's lovely. I feel like actually one of the easiest things is being an abstainer. So I feel like anything that like I don't want, like any habit that I want to drop, like I just need to make the decision and do it.
Like sugar.
There
you go. There's a habit.
And it's like that rebel tendency. Like, I need to decide that this is not going to work for me anymore, and then it's done.
Right.
And it's done.
Right.
But, you know, how do you get to make that decision? I'm not sure. I need a lightning bolt, but I don't know how to make yourself have a lightning bolt. You know, like, why did it hit me that particular day? Who the hell knows?
Right.
You know? So.
What was the question again? I forgot it.
It was...
what habit do you have that was successful, and how would you apply that?
Yeah.
How would you apply it to habits that you're having trouble forming?
You know something I'm really good at? This is going to sound really lame and stupid, but I'm really good at getting the mail and dealing with it immediately. Mm-hmm. So like, I trash it, open it, deal with it, done every day.
That's great.
There's no mail pile in my house. There doesn't exist. The minute I take it out, I don't even take it out of the mailbox until I can deal with it. So, bills go here. Stuff I need to address goes here.
I started doing that in the new house because I was like, the only place to put the mail is on the kitchen counter and I don't want it. And before it used to be my mother-in-law collects the mail and she puts it on my desk, and that contributed to the like chaos of the desk.
Right.
And now like it can't make it to my desk until I deal with it. So like the only thing that makes it back there are the bills that have to be paid that go in the little thing that to be paid. Yeah.
You know, I have a slot for like, I have like a divider on my desk, one of those like bill holder things. And I have an envelope for bills and receipts. And I have a slot for like wedding invitation, baby shower, you know, stuff I need to deal with in some way, but I'm not going to deal with right now. Right. So I just put it where it belongs and then I'm done. So then how can I apply that to working out? Get up, do it, done, I guess. But I have to eat before I work out or I'll die. I can't work out on an empty stomach.
Me too.
That's what I was actually doing before school ended. Was I walked in, I got fully dressed for working out, dropped my kids off, walked in the door and worked out before I walked the dogs, before I did anything. So I guess I already did apply that to that when I was able to do that. Yeah. Before summer. So
and maybe we just obviously we accept that summer is messing with our schedules. So we just have to maybe make a summer schedule and go accept that maybe you're not going to work out every day, but maybe make a couple of days that are untouchable for the kids and just announce it to the family. These are the days, these are the times, this is when it's happening.
Right.
There's this Pilates class that I really love, and my favorite teacher teaches at 8:30 on Wednesdays, which is perfect for school drop-off. It's not perfect in the summer. And I was so proud of myself. I put that on the schedule, and then a friend asked me if I could take her child at 8 a.m. and I was not going to be home at 8 a.m. And I said, I will be home at 9:30. And that was huge for me. And it's why I thought I was an obliger, because in the past I would have canceled the class and gone, well, she needs me at 8. It's, you know, it's just one class. It's just whatever. And I was like, fuck it. This is important to me. This is my favorite class. This is my favorite 45 minutes of the week that doing something for myself. I need to honor that commitment. But that's very unlike me. That was like one gold star moment out of, you know, a lot of failed attempts. But and I didn't explain to her, oh, it's just that I'm going to this class or whatever. I just said, no need. I will be home at 9:30.
That's happened to me after Jair. That Jair podcast where I went, no, actually, if I'm working out at this time, that's like a meeting. Yeah. It should be as important as every meeting I have to sit on for Bert. Why is that less important? It's not. So everything for school, can you volunteer? We're having a meeting at this time. No, I can meet at 9. I can meet from 9 for the rest of the day. But until 9 o'clock, I'm from 8 to 9, I'm out because I'm working out and then I'm showering. That's what and I'm walking the dogs. So it was really more like 9:15. But I did the same thing, and it wasn't hard, but I never did it before, so it must have been hard until I realized how far down the list I had placed myself.
Yeah, with your lightning bolt moment, it helped you to just go
adjust.
No.
So that was really easy to do, but I never did it before that. I would have just canceled everything. Well, I guess I'm not working out today.
I feel like it goes back to the beginning part of this where like, does understanding yourself better make things easier? And I think that's part of it. Once you understand, I'm not making myself a priority. I have to.
Right.
Then it's easier to say, nope, sorry, I'm unavailable, or I can't take your kid till 9:30. Like once you have that sort of paradigm shift, where it becomes more valuable, it's easier to make it a habit.
Yeah. Or that it's in alignment with who you want to be, you know? Because I was like, do I want my kids to think that I don't value myself at all?
Right.
That I keep saying, yes, I'd rather go to some bullshit meeting at school about the finances of a field trip than work out, but I'm not even going to go to the field trip or have nothing to do, but I feel obligated because the parents are included. No, that's not the right thing to teach them. And am I not going to go to therapy when they're out of school? No, I'm going to leave them home by themselves and go to therapy. Or I used to, last year, they didn't want to do that. I'd make them go sit in the lobby so that that happened probably before my Jair podcast even. That was one place where I went, no, this is my self-care. I have 1 hour a week. That's it. I'm asking for 1 hour a week. So you people are going to sit in the lobby and watch a movie on your iPad while I do my 1 hour a week.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I wouldn't do it for anything other than that. That was it. So the bleeding over into the rest, even this podcast, to go, no, I'm sorry, we can't do that until this is done.
Yeah.
Isla had she has an art tutor, and the tutor was coming at noon today, and I said, I used to in the past, I'd feel so bad to ask her to reschedule or whatever. And I was like, don't feel bad. Yesterday, I even felt bad. I said, don't feel bad. Tell her we need to be done by like 12:30 because I know she's going with you to the trampoline park. Can you move the appointment to 11? And she was like, oh, yeah, no problem. Oh, I'm so bad. I'm so sorry,
Right.
That's silly.
That's so interesting, though. That is such a female thing of like not even asking the question.
Right.
Yes.
And going through all those things in your head, like thinking, oh, it's so much to ask, da, 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 da. But like just ask.
Yeah.
And she can say no. Why are we placing all the burden on us when you could you're putting the burden on yourself? And when you just asked her and she's like, sure.
Yeah, no problem.
It might have made her day more convenient because maybe now she's done at noon instead of
1:30. Yeah.
1:30. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
there's one final question on here. Identify one specific habit you'd like to adopt and how exactly might you foster that habit. We've talked about this. We talked that to death.
Yeah.
That's done. So that's the entire
habits are dead to me.
guide.
They're dead to me. I'm done. All right. So overall, I learned a lot from this book.
Yeah.
It was definitely worth reading for sure. So with my evaluation of tedious, boring, stale, old lady, close crotch, please don't let that defer you from reading this book. You just have to, I think, be and have the appetite to learn to read the book. But it's well written. It's easy to read. It's not like she's using big fancy words or she's not making things complicated when they don't need to be complicated. She really did a good job reading this book, but the whole time I just did not want to pick it back up. Maybe it was a subconscious resistance to learning this.
I feel like self-help books, for me, bring out the rebel tendency. I just feel like, because most of the time the advice is simple, because we all know that advice across the board, whatever it is that you're trying to work on, it's probably pretty simple advice, whether it's, diet or anything habit wise, but it just brings out the rebel that it's like, well, I knew that.
Right.
But I feel like the advice is pretty strong in this book. I got a lot out of it.
Yeah,
it is.
I agree.
What do you think, Cathy?
Yeah, I agree. I did not want to read it at all. And I found it very challenging, but it wasn't challenging to read.
Right.
And it was super helpful. Like I said at the beginning, I would read 5 pages. I'd be like, oh, that's really great. I'm not reading it anymore.
I know.
I did that every day.
I'd start daydreaming. And then I'd have to reread. And then I'd daydream. And then I'd reread. And I thought, well, maybe in the world we live in today with all this social media, I have lost my attention span. And then I started reading the summer book. And I'm reading it for like 45 minutes at a time. And I don't want to put it down. So I'm like, okay, clearly it was the book. There was something about the book that wasn't keeping me engaged the way that I like to be engaged when I'm reading a book.
Well, it's not fiction. Right. There's no story.
No, that's true. And even the summer book I'm reading I'm like, oh, well, she's going to sleep with him and he's going to sleep with her and they're going to hook up here and it's happening. I'm like, I predicted all of it. So this is not a super sophisticated read. But, well, what are we reading next? Are we going to do this again?
I don't know. To be determined.
Really?
We should read another book.
We should read another book.
Yeah.
What should we read?
Are we reading another self-help book?
But are we reading another? Yeah, that's the question.
I don't know.
We need to figure out, are we reading something to better ourselves or something fun?
Oh, no. We should read something fun. David Sedaris has a new book coming out.
Yeah. There's actually a book on the
I'm burnt out
bestseller list that I want to read.
What is it?
It's called Educated, a memoir.
Yes.
What's it about?
I heard about that.
It sounds
What is it?
It's fascinating.
Right?
Well, what is it?
It's about this girl who never stepped foot into a classroom until she was 17. She was raised by wilderness survivalist parents. And then she went on to get like a PhD from Cambridge. And it's about her life story. It's a memoir. So it sounds really interesting, though.
I've had it on my library list for a long
time.
Have you? Yeah.
I just discovered it like this week. I was like, oh, that sounds really fascinating.
Yeah, and my mother-in-law read it, and I think one of my sister-in-law read it.
Did they like it?
Yeah, and then somebody at school who's a very tough book critic and is like, I'm on Goodreads with, and she's always giving it like 2 stars and 3 stars on things. And I believe this is the first thing other than Shakespeare that I saw her give 5 stars to. So I was like, ooh, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. You want to read that? Do you not want to do a book club again for podcast? You can be honest.
No, I'll read it. I just don't. I don't know when I'll get around to it, but I will definitely do it. I just depending on your timeline.
We can read something else. I mean,
I don't know my timeline either. I have a stack of books that I want to read, but a lot of them are self-help books, and they're for this podcast, like for stuff that we've been discussing. But I'm also feeling daunted by that because I want to read for fun for a little bit. So maybe we'll just see what we think.
We'll reconvene, let you read a little bit for fun.
Yeah, we'll read
a little bit of your other podcast stuff, and then when you're ready for us to read this, I might be ready then.
Yeah, okay. I got to read. I want to reread Brene Brown's Daring Greatly. I read that a long time ago, and I remember going, "Oh my God, listen to this! Oh my God, listen to this!" and not being able to put the book down. But I can't really remember more than 1 or 2 concepts from the book because I'm old or something. I don't know. I can't remember. So I can't remember why I had such a strong reaction other than it was about vulnerability and it was about like guilt versus shame. Yeah. And that concept. So I want to read it again and see if I can remember. All right. Well, thanks for doing this with me. I know it was a long time. We started reading this book a long time ago. So thanks, and thanks everybody that listened for hanging in and waiting. I'm sure you were waiting with bated breath. I can't wait for that book club. Oh my God. I hope it was fun. I think I had fun.
Yeah.
Was it fun to you guys?
It was fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.